Welcome to Behind the Numbers, the podcast that keeps you up to date with football within the hobby. This week, we have Ty on the show. We're going to take a look at some more Mosaic pricing along with some pop reports to kind of help us, again, navigate that landscape between Prizm, Optic, and Mosaic in terms of our main rookie products. We're going to touch on what to expect from contenders in this coming week. We will also review how our rookies in divisional round, along with 5 players are getting a nice bump with their performances in the playoffs. We'll touch on the interesting buy and sell segment, along with our picks in the conference championship round. Now, it's time for the show. Welcome to Behind the Numbers, divisional playoff round episode. Lucky to have our man Ty back with us. He's got the awesome kaboom background. Can't tell if Mahomes is choked out in the background or not, but we'll get to that later. But anyways, Ty, how have you been? How was your holidays? How's life, my man?
Good, yeah. I think, I was supposed to be with you last week, and I got sick, man. I got strep throat. And as an adult, to get strep throat, it was so brutal. Yeah. It was like 4 days of I can't swallow. I don't really want to move because my lymph nodes and throat's so swollen. And I mean, by day 3, I'm just like, I need something. And they gave me steroids to get the swelling down. And
that's brutal.
So, yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't make it.
No,
I'm doing better now.
Obviously, you had a good excuse. I think like in this time with the COVID and everything, it's bad to be sick too, because then you're also like ultra cautious because you don't want to get other people's symptoms that makes them feel in the worry, right? So
sure.
Having the common cold.
No doubt. That was the doctor's first inclination was you got to have COVID. It's like, well, maybe I don't have COVID actually. Maybe I have something else that's been around forever.
Yeah, just a common sickness. Yeah, right. For sure. But like I was kind of chatting with you before the show, kind of let the fans know a little bit. But yeah, I had a little crazy weekend myself. My family and I we like to hike up here in Canada, some awesome sites, and we were on our last little kilometer, about 7 kilometers, and just happened to be coming down. Dog's leash got loose. My wife ran toward it, hit a chunk of ice, slipped, and fractured her ankle. And so our Saturday it was the first time that we have actually gotten out at a good time in the morning. Like we usually straggle out, get out to 2 and just try to beat the darkness. We're just kind of that slow movers. And we got out that morning. We were on good pace, got out coming off the hill about 12:30 for lunch, and everything's good. And the next thing you know, it's 6 hours waiting in the ER to make sure the x-rays and all that stuff's good, no surgery. And yeah, man, it just turned completely to a different realm of possibilities. And I just had to laugh a little bit because I'm sitting there, I'm getting my kids ready for school this morning, and my wife's struggling. She's getting around on crutches, and it's really sore. It's super swollen. I mean, she's sports medicine background, so she knows how bad it is. And my daughter on that hike, she walked through a branch, scratched her face. My son was doing human sledding down the hill, so his face is all notched up. My family just went through a meat grinder this weekend. I'm just like, what is going on with us? But man, it was weird. But anyways, hopefully she heals fast. It's looking like maybe 3 months or so, but definitely a crazy
recovery, or like 3 months in a cast.
So she's in a boot right now. So 3 months of recovery, and then it's kind of rehab strengthening because it's the ankle. So it's all about stability and keeping that stability. So, but yeah, man, it's just definitely not ideal, but
super dad time.
Super dad time. Yeah. Definitely feeling the wrath of how important a wife and a mom is. That's for sure.
No doubt. But you should never take that for granted.
Never will. That's for sure. But anyway, so let's jump into football cards. That's why people tend to listen to us, I believe, or listen to me. So real quick, just thought we'd talk about playoffs kind of hit the market last week. Yeah. Overall, kind of maybe give me your thoughts. I'll kind of give you my quick takes. Overall, I think it's underwhelming a little bit. I watched a few breaks. Just some of the cards didn't really strike me as much as I thought they would. The product's all about the booklets and the low numbered multi-patch autos that people can acquire. So typically it's a hobby product, it seems, in terms of the big hits that you're going to hit. What are your thoughts on the product? And I just have a couple single sales I was going to share with the group.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Playbook, especially at, what is it now, $4.50 a box?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nearly impossible to have a realistic, break from $4.50 a box. Playbook. Look, I mean, I think the books are great. They look cool. I mean, they look cool. I mean, they always have. You still get sticker autos just about every time. So that's kind of frustrating, especially this year.
Right.
But heck no, not at 450. Forget it.
It's kind of a weird product too with the realm of the hobby right now in terms of the emphasis on grading. I mean, the booklets, you're not grading those. You're not sending these super thick cards in. That's just not how it works in terms of the grading realm. But a couple singles, there was one big one I found, a Herbert auto out of 7. It was a sticker auto sold for $2,000. Still hit 2K, which I thought was pretty mind blowing for, it was a good sell in my opinion. Cam Akers rookie locker auto out of 99 for 130. Tua booklet RPA out of 49 for 230. Burrow, the ball helmet cleat patch out of 49 for 280. A J.K. Dobbins 6 jersey auto book for 126, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire RPA out of 25 for 250. So some good values there, but like you said, those are probably like box hits, or you're still losing your money on the 450. Those are all pretty low numbered RPA cards, so it kind of shows that the value isn't there. It's you can say it's a fun for product, and that's fine, but the value is not matching the price. That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah, no thanks.
No thanks. Well, let's get to the stuff that you do like. So I did some Mosaic research because I know that you've been a big fan of Mosaic. So have I. Yeah. I was really excited to talk to you last week about it, but nothing much has changed. So we can keep talking about this week. But I went through this last week, but I'll go with it again because it's about the same since you weren't on the show, and compared Mosaic retail and hobby to Prizm retail and hobby. And Mosaic's actually slightly ahead in retail right now, which obviously is probably because Mosaic's not being stocked anymore. But I was just pretty impressed with how Mosaic's wax prices are holding. So I'll kind of share those with you. So Mosaic cellos are $30 right now, and Prizms are $20 to $25. Hanger box for Mosaics $40 to $45, Prizm $40 to $43. Blasters for Mosaic $60 to $62, Prizm $60. And mega boxes for Mosaic $150 and Prizm $130. So we'll stop there with the retail, but what's your kind of thoughts of how close that is? Is that surprising at all to you, or do you think it's just because the Prizm still, you can't find Prizm on the shelves, but it's still being restocked? Is that the big deal, you think? Or what are your thoughts on
I think it goes to show how good of a product Mosaic is. It's just much more than just the base cards, right? They're great inserts, they're great parallels. Probably
autos are cool.
More about Mosaic and less about Prizm. Right. Is my immediate take on that. I would be surprised if 6 months from now that is still the case. I bet you Prizm widens the gap over the next few months.
I do think Prizm's at its bottom dollar in terms if you can't find stuff off the shelves, if you're looking to get Prizm, I think $60 is a pretty respectable price on those blasters, and I think that's going to gain, especially with the strength of the quarterback position in this class. And we'll go through some prices here, some singles, but Burrow's not dropping that much. Burrow's holding strong for his injury. I really thought we'd see a little bit more of a dive, but he's been holding. People still making some sales with him, so that's pretty impressive with his type of injury that he's holding strong. The hobby boxes, there's a little bit of a gap. You have the no huddle for Mosaic 600, no huddle for Prizm's 850, hobby for Mosaic about 800, and hobby for Prizm 1000. So you still see a little bit of gap there, but definitely closer. So we'll get to my big question here at the end, but I did want to get into the pop report a bit. I did a little bit of pop report research for the show because you and I had conversations about Mosaic and its grading and how we thought that other card conditions were a concern, but in turn can maybe pump up the value in terms of gems. And so I just had a quick couple stats for you, and then we can just kind of chat about it. So overall, like all Mosaic cards have been graded 55% gem rate, every card. Okay, so all through the whole product. I did the big three. I did Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. And what I did was I did the bases, all color, and then their silvers separate in terms of how their gems were. So Burrow, 53% gems on his base, 58% gem for all his color, and then 63% gem for his silvers. You got Herbert, 65% on his base gems, 77% gem for Herbert's colors, silvers for him, 72%. So Herbert's cards are grading well. And here's one that's just mind-blowing to me. What do you think his pink percentage is?
You're excited about it, so I'm going to say it's probably above 73, so I'll go 75, 76.
84% gem on his camo pinks out of the retail cellos. Couldn't believe that number. So that was really surprising. And then Tua's 62% on his base, 79% on his color, and his silver is 63%. So across the board, Herbert's grading the best of the three. And I think across the board, it's kind of caught up, Ty, that the grading numbers aren't staggeringly low like I thought they would be. It does seem that they are grading well. There's still like not a lot there, so it's a small sample relative, I bet. But just seeing how high they are, because they started low right off the gate. They started really low, and they've definitely climbed way back to higher than I thought they would. I know they'll probably settle down a bit, but what are your thoughts on that just general sample of the grading there?
Yeah, you normally see it peak really early because the best of the best go in first, right? They're
Right.
the 5-day, the 10-day, the 2-day, all those. I mean, those are with the guys with good eyes and the people that are grading for throughout the year, and they know how to look at cards. They're not sending in crap. So you have to figure that the best of the best is there.
Yeah.
I would suspect it settles like 65, 70% across the board.
But at the same time, that's about a normal number though. So that Mosaic card condition concern, that Mosaic, the cards are in terrible condition. Are you buying into that anymore, or do you think they're just kind of normal?
From Mosaic's perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I opened plenty of Mosaic, or I shouldn't say I opened. I got to see a lot of it opened. I did open some myself. I didn't see condition issues. I personally did not experience it. So I don't know. I don't know if it was just kind of one off in the first run. Maybe they fixed it in the second half and beyond.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
right. I just think those surfaces are a little more susceptible to like dimples just because of the type of like the material they go with. They're just more susceptible. But I think overall, a little bit was just overblown in the beginning. There might have been some really bad cards out the gate. That's some really bad examples. And I think that it's starting to level out in terms of being respectable. But a couple Mosaic singles I'd share that I didn't share with last week, just different ones. Tua's Camo Pink PSA 10 152. CD Lamb Mosaic Prizm rookie debut PSA 10 79. I just put that on there because it's a debut. It says Mosaic Prizm and its rookie debut, and it's still hitting 80. Another rookie debut card, Chase Young's Mosaic White. That's the ones that are at 25. PSA 10 for 355. So a rookie debut of a defensive player with a white parallel Mosaic for 355. Just that sinking in is just that's a really high number to me. I know it's a low numbered card, but also the debut. I want to ask you about that here in a second. Herbert Green for 425. Herbert Orange Reactive for 425, and a Brandon Ayuk Gold Wave 10 out of 17 for 565. Yep. So you're seeing, just by reading some of those numbers, you're seeing that even the lesser rookies, if you hit a nice color or a nice card of the lesser rookies, there's some phenomenal value there. And the question I would ask you is, Ty, is this rookie debut a thing? Do you think that these cards, I mean, why are people buying these at this high of numbers?
Well, first off, keep in mind, like, what are the pops on those? 1 or 2?
Yeah, I mean,
right, like they're the only ones in existence, so they're getting a premium. It's artificially inflated. No way are you buying subset rookie cards 2 years from now. Right? You're not getting that price again ever, and you're not going to see a lot of them graded. You're just not. And if you do, it's going to be a year from now before you start seeing them in the wild. Yeah. So no, absolutely not.
Seeing these numbers though, even the raws of like the Herberts and like the quarterbacks are still doing relatively well. I mean, the Herbert Green debut we talked about last week was 355. And so, I mean, I'm thinking I actually have a green and a pink of Herbert debuts. I'm like, shoot, I need to get those going. Cause I mean, those are going to be good sells for sure. I'm kind of the same as you. Yeah. I'm just surprised they hit that high. I thought they would just be kind of forgotten in the beginning, but just to see some of these prices on some of these debuts has been really surprising to me.
Definitely a case of rising tide, right? Everything's going up right now. I think I was talking to some guys earlier this week or this past weekend, and I mean, basketball card market's up basically 25% in 30 days. I mean, almost every player has gone up about 25%. At least players.
And they're all playing well. And it's not too much artificial. A lot of guys are younger playing well too.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and like a Hall of Fame, like veteran cards going up 25%. Like everything is going up. And in football right now, you just don't got anything else to buy. Right. There's nothing else to buy. There's no cards out there right now.
Especially graded.
Yeah. So when Optic comes out, that'll shake things up a little bit. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I would absolutely not be spending my hard-earned dollars on rookie debut cards.
Right. Well, I mean, let's just transition that. That's a question I had for you. I think that when we first had the discussion, you and I kind of agreed at the time that it was going to be Prizm, it was going to be Optic, then probably Mosaic, and then Donruss. Do you think that do you think that Mosaic's going to challenge Optic at all in terms of value, or do you think that Optic will distance itself between? Optic's coming out at $900 a box pre-sale for its hobby boxes in February. Just what are your thoughts on those three? I think those three right now are the rookie cards to go for. I mean, Donruss has its place as well, but I think that those three are the ones that stand alone. But I'm just curious your take in terms of Optic versus Mosaic.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, right? We don't have a lot to go on with Mosaic, so we're going to have to just see how it plays out over the next few months. Luckily, some other sports have Mosaic too, so we can see how it works with basketball as well. But look, I think there's plenty of room for three of them. I think what we're going to see is Select is going to take less of a role. As much as people want to, and I know there's some prominent people out pumping Select over the past few days. I just don't believe in Select. They've been around long enough. That brand cannot seem to catch on, especially in football. I think Mosaic is by and far like the third player right now. And I love Optic. I'm a huge fan of Optic. I think what the problem with Optic has always been, right, is timing. You catch it right at the end of the season and you lose a little bit of that flair. And you don't see the hype and the excitement around Optic until the beginning of the next season sometimes. And so
and especially this year with Optic and last year as well, but the rookies are done basically. Like our playoff report, the rookies are pretty much out. So that's also something so that's good. The last thing in terms of product review, Ty, I want to talk about is just Contenders comes out this week on Wednesday. It's a heavy auto product. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first kind of on-card auto that people chase with the cracked ice and the game tickets. Not a good base product, so it doesn't do as well with retail. But overall, what are your thoughts on Contenders coming out this week?
Yeah, this is the rookie auto to own of any player in the NFL, period. It always has been, always will be. You want the rookie ticket autos. The problem with retail has always been that you don't find the tier 1 names in the product. I would assume it's going to be the same this year. Maybe they'll surprise us. But the good thing is they'll always have those short printed, rookie ticket autos that people tend to chase, random offensive linemen who only had like 9 or 10 copies. And, you don't find out until, March, but it makes it fun.
Right.
There's always that, but I'm not an auto collector. I'm not a big auto guy, so I don't gravitate towards it, but it's absolutely got its place.
Yeah, I just think that for me, the only thing with Contenders I just like the game ticket look. I think that's just the fan in me, just kind of the Contender look and the Contender auto. It's just a good appealing card to a collector. Sure. So I definitely, I might try a couple breaks or whatnot, but I won't be able to afford the Chargers or anything. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Sorry to make it off.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do think, unfortunately, Panini has kind of hurt the brand a little bit with Contenders. Whereas it used to be that one product where it would come out in December and January for football, and that's when you knew you got the on-card auto. But now you have it in other sports, and you have the draft version, and people have started to realize they've associated the lack of value with Contenders draft, and even Contenders, because they're so used to going and getting base cards, grading them, and getting value out of them. And these new collectors are like, wait, what? There's nothing else except the auto in here? And they see it absolutely falls in its face every time draft comes out. So I think Panini hurt themselves by coming out and watering down Contenders. So I think it there's a little bit less luster Contenders release these days.
Yeah, and I think they just kind of, like you said, I think they've overextended themselves to their benefit, you could say. But I mean, because they're doing that college version of everything now, right? They got their Prizm draft picks, they got their Contenders draft picks, they got their Optic, well, not Optic, but they have what's the other one? They had one more that like 3 different college comes out. You have your Flawless. Everything has its college version. Yeah. But for sure. Anything else product wise, Ty, on your mind?
No. Look, I'm excited to see some new stuff. So I can't wait to record an episode to break down Optic. I know. Yeah,
for sure.
It was heavily allocated. There's some serious printer issues, as they say, with the Chrome printers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it will be interesting. I think it'll be interesting when Optic comes out, because then it'll be a little bit early, but might start seeing some Prizm pop in terms of grading. And then I think our real gauge will be once we hit about the summertime when they're all outgraded and we're really comparing apples to apples. Will be definitely a good time to see how the 3 products line up as we plan for 2021, which will be a heavy quarterback class as well. So kind of just the playoff rookie report I was going to dive into real quick. Like I said, not many rookies around, which tends to happen as the veteran teams keep advancing. But Cam Akers finished off his playoff run impressively, 18 for 90, 1 touchdown, 1 catch for 6. Just a great playoff push for him. He really made himself a lot of value in the hobby. And I just think that he's definitely going to be the guy there next year. He's just that was their plan all along, to slowly work him in. He was slowed by injuries throughout the season. And he's just a guy that I think they can lean on as their number 1 guy. AJ Dillon 6 for 27, and then Dobbins 10 for 42, 3 for 51. CEH and Moss were both out, as in their respective teams. Their teams are still alive, but they're still dinged up. So any of those rookies what do you think about Akers' playoff performance?
I thought it was outstanding. I mean, I don't know if he's the best running back in the class, but he absolutely had a great last month in the season.
Right.
The big question going into next season's right, who's their quarterback going to be, and how's it going to be? How they're going to work? Are they going to put Akers at front and center and kind of make him the guy? But consider me a fan. I'm excited for him.
Yeah. Well, we'll just kind of jump to the 5 takeaways. And my takeaway 4 is Cam Akers the best RB in the class? You just kind of mentioned. I think in terms of that short burst and that what we saw what they could do with him, I think he's shown it, but Taylor's shown it to that level as well. Yeah. Gibson and James Robinson did it all season. So that's just kind of, pick your poison of what you want to go with. But in terms of your question, I think to me, the Rams have a big decision to make because, one, they don't have a first-round draft pick. So they're not going to be able to do much movement. They're not going to be able to try to take a flyer on a quarterback in the draft. I think that they will stay with Goff. I think they will heavily go running, play action, run first, and keep Goff, I don't want to say a game manager, but more of a play action, not a guy they're relying on to throw the ball consistently. And so I could see that just giving Cam Akers a monster year next year, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns type of season. They have that defense's backing, so they're always going to be in games. That defense is what their kind of bread and butter is right now with, they're good front to back with Donald back to Ramsey. So that's just kind of my take on the Rams' future plans.
I think they trade for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's a quarterback at the Rams next year.
Yeah, I mean the only problem with that is I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, we'll go get Watson." Just a lot of people that are telling me that those teams don't have the ammunition to get him. I mean, it just depends what the Rams can give. Yeah, you don't have the first round pick though. That's a huge negative. I think Miami's the most equipped. Miami has the 3rd overall pick. They have Tua. If they wanted to just say, "Here, take 2 and a first," we'll take the proven guy because we're ready to go. There's a lot of interesting places with Watson. This Watson story is definitely going to be a very interesting hobby follow because Watson actually has a lot of value and he could go somewhere that he's an instant contender, which is a big, big jump. So definitely will be interesting to see what happens there.
For sure. He is, he's the number 1 guy to watch in the offseason, no doubt. No doubt, right? I mean, talk about a double or triple overnight type thing with value. Yeah. You could walk into that with investing in Deshaun Watson.
And don't get me wrong, like to me, in my perspective, his just like being unhappy is warranted. I mean, like he'd been there, what he's done for them, and like not to even consult him on any hiring or. I mean, he's the guy. He's their franchise. So I mean, to me, like it's warranted to want out. I don't blame him. I don't think he's throwing a temper tantrum. I think it's valid to say the least as well.
I do too. I watched multiple games with him this year, and each time I watched, I was just more impressed with him.
No.
What he's done for them and his ability to keep them in so many games with the lack of talent around him is mind-blowing. The guy is extremely talented. When he is armed with a stellar running back and with a couple good receivers, like forget about it. He's going to be top 5 quarterback, no questions asked.
Yeah, he came back and beat Josh Allen last year in the playoffs, like with a very similar team. He's shown he can do it, and he's a competitor. I always like his competitive fire. Yeah. He's just that people rally around him because he's giving it all he has. My first takeaway was the Browns seem to be heading in the right direction. I thought they had a good showing against KC. They were heavily an underdog in that game in terms of the spread. They kept it close. That obviously didn't come away. Kansas City just had too much talent. But overall, what do you think about the Browns' direction in terms of franchise?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I look, as a Kansas City fan, obviously I was hoping they would lose, but yeah. I was really surprised with how passive they were the last 2 drives. Like you could just tell they kind of just tentatively gave the ball to Chubb and Hunt. I mean, I get it. They're two great running backs, but Breeland's out. Why the heck would you not throw the ball and go win the game? It just felt like they didn't really go get it. And it was weird. Fans were just like, wait, why aren't they throwing the ball here?
Yeah, which was weird because last week against the Steelers, when they could have just packed it in, they were throwing and they were moving the chains against the Steelers and making the big plays to, I was so impressed that they let Baker win the game or seal the game last week. And I thought they would just run. They didn't. And then this week they kind of did the opposite. You're right. I just think the direction's good. I think they finally found a really good rhythm for Baker in terms of play action and getting that running game going. I just think they have a really good offensive structure and their defense is young and they have a lot of elite pieces. I mean, that team has, they still have their draft picks. I think they can make some noise. I think they're going to get better. So that AFC North is going to be really interesting to see what happens as, Big Ben might retire and, Ravens are always going to be tough, but Lamar's still lacking that passing efficiency. So we'll just kind of see what happens with that AFC North. I'm interested to see what the Browns do for sure in the offseason.
I think they should be the favorite. It shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah. Don't tell Shani that, but yeah.
I mean, look, I think Shani would agree at this point.
Yeah. Lamar and Mahomes both got injured. Lamar did get knocked out with a concussion. He wasn't playing great, but, he wasn't playing terrible either. Mahomes was kind of a weird one. It didn't really look like a concussion. It was more of like a choke out. They kind of explained it, but it's definitely a scare for both guys. But Ravens season's over. Mahomes and KC was able to hold on and still win without him. But kind of, do you think Mahomes is pretty sure going to play next week? And just your thoughts on Lamar's season?
Sell on Lamar. That's what I think of Lamar.
Yeah, kind of how I felt since forever.
I just am not impressed with that guy.
Yeah.
I think you and I have agreed on Lamar since the beginning. It's just so much risk.
It is, and he's starting to become more one-dimensional. Like his running is phenomenal. He is a speedster. It's just when he has to sit there and throw on third and long, it's just that in the NFL, that's just not going to last if he can't get that figured out. In his MVP year, he was able to, and they made the adjustments, and now he's not. And so we'll see what happens next year. I think next year is going to be a big tale of what his long-term career is going to be. I don't want to throw him to the wolves because he still has a talented football player, but that passing has to get better for sure.
There's something there though. If you just watch, you can tell when leaders like quarterbacks, when they have their team and when the group is rallying behind them. I just don't see it with Baltimore. I don't see the guys rallying behind Lamar Jackson like I do with other certain quarterbacks. I don't know if it's just because he's not a great leader. Maybe that's it. But his pure athleticism has got him to this point. And like you said, teams, you can't do it. It doesn't work. Right. Especially at this level. You can't have a mediocre game. You can't not have a great game in the playoffs.
Right.
You can't. Like, you're going to get beat. And
I was really surprised in that Buffalo-Baltimore game. I thought there was going to be a lot more points in that game. I thought those teams would be going at each other because Buffalo is not very good against the run. So I thought Lamar and JK would have a really big day. And I thought that the Bills would be answering with Allen's arm. And it was actually kind of the opposite, a little bit of a defensive struggle and possession and just a lot different game than I thought we were going to see in that one for sure. But, Lamar did get his first playoff when he got that monkey off his back, but still definitely some questions to be answered for sure. Brady plays well and win over Saints. That's kind of the game I missed. I thought Saints were going to get him for the third time, but 4 turnovers is hard to overcome from New Orleans, and Brady played really well. I kind of want to say it seals the deal in our discussion you and I had in the first coming weeks of Patriots versus Brady at the Bucs, who would fare better. And Brady's got a new team to the NFC Championship game. I don't really know how much better Brady's value can get in the hobby. It can if he wins another Super Bowl, but my question to you is if Brady loses in the NFC Championship game, does that do anything for his career this year? Do you think or is it just another solid Brady year?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think we can ever say that there's no more room for cards to move, right? If anything, we learned last year, right? Yeah. If Brady pulls off a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, like, forget about it. Like the sky is the limit with Brady, but you can go get an Aaron Rodgers Topps PSA 10 rookie for $1,200 today. You could have got it for $600 a month ago.
I don't know why.
Buy Aaron Rodgers rookie for $1,200 is what I would say right now. But I would say Tom Brady did not look good last week. He looked okay.
Yeah.
Drew Brees looked terrible. He just looked old. Just looked done. So
yeah,
and I think the writing's on the wall, right? He's done. He's retiring. But
yeah, I think so. Him and Big Ben. Who knows what Indy's doing with Rivers? A lot of changing the guard in terms of those, like I said, those old vets coming out. A lot of young blood coming in. The league's definitely getting younger by the day. Seems like. Green Bay, like we said, they're rolling. Rodgers, Devontae Adams. I mean, are they the team to beat right now, or is it still KC? Do you think it's Green Bay, or do you think it's KC?
Well, I would look and see who has the ring on their finger from last year. That would be the team I would want to beat.
Yeah. Green Bay's just been rolling, like in terms of, like, I just feel like they're on fire. Like, I think KC definitely, it's hard to tell with KC because they started fast last week and then the injury happened with Mahomes and they got out of rhythm. I still think KC's a team to beat too, but I'm really hoping, to me, I want to see KC versus Green Bay in the Super Bowl. I think that would be the biggest fireworks, the nice quarterback matchup.
Sure.
It would be a fun one. And all these quarterbacks would be fun. Brady, Allen, they all have their level of interest for sure. So definitely.
Yeah, I saw a tweet. I don't know if you sent it to me or somebody, but going into Sunday, the 3 remaining quarterbacks in the NFC were 45, 44, and like 44 or something like that.
Yeah.
38 or something with Rodgers. Right. And then it was in the AFC, it was 25, 25, 24.
24, yeah. We did the average last week on the show, and then I did that like right after the game. I was like, I kind of visualized that, and I typed it all out, and I was like, oh, wow, I'll put that on my show. And then my friends are like, hey, Mortensen just tweeted your stat. Mortensen tweeted out that the young AFC versus the old NFC, but yeah, it was hilarious. Easy. I know. So like 5 playoff bump players, like the guys in the playoffs, I think have gotten a hobby bump, gotten hobby interest. You can add to this if you'd like, but I have Josh Allen. He's obviously won 2 games, the AFC Championship. He keeps taking progressive steps as a quarterback in the league. And, I don't, like, it may not be fair, but I think he's making Mahomes type throws too. He's making these crazy 18-yard zip throws on the run. Like, he's doing kind of those special plays that you just don't see very often consistently. Last week we had Baker as one of them, but I put Aaron Rodgers in for him just because he got another playoff win, the NFC Championship. He's really building momentum for that MVP that a lot of people it's really close to him and Mahomes now. So I do think that that's really big for his hobby value. Devontae Adams, another touchdown. Just had a massive year, even for missing games. He's still one of the top receivers in production in the league. Cam Akers, we already talked about, and then Stephon Diggs. He's a number 1 receiver. He's just every week 100 yards on touchdown, 100 yards on touchdown. He's been extremely impressive, and he's always been touted as highly talented in Minnesota, but just never put it all together. It just seems like he finally has. And so I think that those 5 guys kind of stand out to me in terms of playoff production. That's kind of give them a hobby bump. Any guys that you want to mention or talk about those guys at all?
No, I mean, I think those are all great. I agree on Baker for sure. I mean, Josh Allen, you can get his PSA 10 Prizm base right now for $900.
Yeah. Still less than Lamar. I mean, if the dude makes it to the Super Bowl, this is going to be a test. Obviously, it's going to be a test. This is an understatement. But if a young quarterback like this makes the hurdle right now, I mean, he's going to elevate himself so quickly into that $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 range, basically overnight. Right. Yeah. And I mean, they are the best matchup for KC because their weakness is run defense, and KC is not a strong run team. So the Bills do have a nice secondary. They got nice safeties that fly around back there. Got Tre'Davious White playing corners. They do have guys that can cover. So it'll be a definitely interesting matchup for sure. Kind of transitioning to that, it's our last couple sections here before we pick our conference championship picks. Is I kind of switched up the buy and sell this week. You've kind of done stuff like this on your show before, but I was going to say if you have $10K to invest in the 4 quarterbacks remaining, how would you do it? You don't have to say cards. You can say I do $3K into Mahomes, I do $2K into Allen, but Allen, Mahomes, Brady, and Rodgers. What would you do with that $10K right now?
I know my answer already. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first. I think I kind of know what mine's going to be, but go ahead.
Okay, it would be a no-brainer, right? I would put $5K into A-Rod rookies right now, and I put $5K into Josh Allen rookies right now.
Yeah. Yep. I would probably, just because I think the Mahomes is still just a super nice mutual fund long term that's just going to steadily grow, I would put at least 2K into Mahomes, definitely 5K Rodgers, and then I'd probably just go 3K Allen and just face the facts. I'm not going to own Brady's in my life.
Well, shoot, I mean, Mahomes and Brady are pretty close now. It's kind of insane.
That's true. So yeah, that's a good one. I kind of did a similar thing for the running backs, just because mostly, honestly, they're kind of like penny stocks. It's really hard to go from quarterbacks to running backs. But the running backs left are Aaron Jones, Singletary, CH and Bell, Ronald Jones, and Fournette. I think the only guy that really has a pulse in the hobby is Aaron Jones. CH, like, maybe just talk. What do you think about CH? Is it just injuries, going to have a nice bounce back? Or are you concerned about him at all in terms of talent?
No, I'm not concerned at all with talent. I think he had a great year. I mean, honestly, everything you could have expected. A little frustrating with injuries. Well, I haven't even looked at the injury report for him this week. Do you know, is he supposed to play?
I haven't. Okay. I'll have to check on that. I thought he was playing last week, to be honest. So,
but if I was to invest money in one of the or two of the running backs, I would say probably Aaron Jones and Edwards-Helaire. I mean, not much to choose from.
There's not. See, and it's just kind of a good illustration that running backs don't matter that much. Like teams, like the teams that are here right now aren't because they're running backs. CH, I think he's a good buy right now in terms of rookies. I do think he has lost some steam because he's not playing and he hasn't really done anything. So I do think that he is a nice little buy in some places. Aaron Jones is tough, like, because he's coming into his contract and Green Bay drafted AJ Dillon. So they might be moving on from him. We're not sure. So we do need to kind of tread lightly with that, but doesn't mean he'll go somewhere and not be good. I still think Aaron Jones is a great running back, but I do think that being in Green Bay is awesome for him. So it's definitely something to watch. And then we just talked about these two in the takeaways, Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs. Who would you want to put your money in right now, receiver wise?
I would probably take Devontae Adams. Yeah, I mean, what you also have to look at how long we think the quarterbacks will be around, right?
Right, that's a big difference.
Diggs with Josh Allen for another 5-6 years,
right?
You don't know. A-Rod could retire in 2 years.
Yeah,
you know, and that changes the dimensions for.
It does. But the only thing I actually think, if you go back, I think Adams' past career is just so much better than Diggs as well. Like his career numbers and everything he's done to this point is at a higher level. But I would agree with you. Diggs being with Allen long term is very attractive in terms of his growth, definitely long term.
I would buy neither, and I would put equal money in a Tyreek Hill and a Travis Kelce.
That's fair.
Arguably investing in the best tight end to ever play the game.
I'm still surprised how cheap Hill's silvers are. You know,
a lot of it has to do with his perception as a person, which I get.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the conference championship picks. I
want to say one thing. We went into the season kind of excited to see what would happen with Tampa Bay receivers.
Yep.
And it's interesting to see how Tom Brady didn't make really anyone that great.
No,
he just kind of spread the ball around, helped game manage and win games. In fact, I mean, basically every receiver's lost value, I would say. And I mean, really the only one that carried a ton of value was Mike Evans, and he just didn't have a great year.
Yeah, last week I brought up Godwin. Godwin's super cheap. His PSA 10 was under $100 for silver, and I still think he's a buy because I do think they're going to have a tough time paying him. I think Godwin could go somewhere with a better QB situation, which is weird to say with Brady there, but I still think Godwin's the most talented receiver in that group. Evans is always going to be a red zone target, but he's just, he's kind of, I don't want to say breaking down. He's just not beating over the top as much. He's just winning with size. And so I'm not sure that that's going to be sustainable like a player like Godwin can be from the slot. But you're right. That's definitely a really good point. I mean, Gronk still getting some targets, but not doing much. Godwin, Evans, they haven't blown up as much as you'd expect. That's for sure.
Right.
So we got Buffalo at KC, with KC was just a 3-point favorite right now. Who do you like in that game? I think I know, but
yeah, I'll take KC by 10.
Ooh, yeah. I think I would take KC too. I do think that KC's defense can surprise you. I do think that they have some speed and they can get after the quarterback a little bit and make it tough on Allen. So I will, but I think it's gonna be an exciting game. I can see it being back and forth and KC pulling away at 10. Then we got to make sure that Mahomes plays. As long as Mahomes is healthy and everything's in line, because if Mahomes is not 100%, then that's a whole different story. Maybe it's the Bills' time. Yeah. But I will take KC with Mahomes being healthy for sure. Tampa Bay at Green Bay. Green Bay is -3.5. I think Green Bay is going to get them, my personal opinion, because I think that it's at Lambeau, which is big. I think that Green Bay got smashed by Tampa Bay early in the season. They want to get that one back. So I just kind of think Green Bay is going to bounce back and get Tampa Bay and Brady. I think, like you said, Brady didn't play well enough. If he played like he did last week, that's not going to be good enough.
Yep. Yeah, I just feels like this is Green Bay's year. Even if it's Green Bay KC, I feel like it's still Green Bay's year. It just has that feel. So I don't think Tampa Bay upsets Green Bay.
Yep. It is interesting this year, though, because I remember last year when Green Bay made it to the NFC Championship against San Francisco, a little bit unexpectedly, they just got hammered by San Fran because of that defense. And in these four, there's not a defense like that this year. There's not a team that can be overrun by a defense. So it's going to be about which offense performs at the best, and what I think is going to be in the favor of the quarterbacks, which is going to be good for the hobby, because we're going to see some really good quarterback performances. Sure. So, but anyway, like I said, I'm excited to see Contenders Autos this week come out. Thanks for being on the show. Got any parting words, sir?
Thanks for having me. It's really
good. Man. Yeah, proud members of Bench Clear Media. Make sure to subscribe. Follow @numbers_behind to start getting on the Behind the Numbers Twitter, so we get that going a little bit, get a little more interaction. But other than that, thanks for being on. Was it Happy Martin Luther King Day? I forget those ones when I'm in Canada, but Happy Martin Luther King Day to you, Ty.
Right. Yeah, you always forget until you turn on the TV and see like 19 NBA games on.
I know.
One with MLK on their jersey. Cool, man. Have a good week.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, bud.
See ya.